Uh, Welcome back to 3Z. I'm going to entitle this offering "Clean Up on Aisle 2." And what I'm going to do is use this video to kind of address some things that I've said in other videos and perhaps add some clarity to them. I'm not going to say clean up on aisle 1 because that's the aisle with vegetables and fruits and nuts in it, and not many of us go down that aisle anyway, except to get to aisle 2. So the first thing I want to talk about is when I talked about nonverbal instruction. So many times, and probably myself included, in early instructing, you think you have to talk all the time through the mission. No, good Lord. No, you don't. Sometimes you just kind of give a highlight, you give tips and so forth. My IP was very good at that. Rick Vale was very good at that. I can remember I did something once, and he just came across the intercom and said, "Oh, good grief." That's all he said. And I knew right away what it was. Another time, we were coming around the final turn, and I got to thinking to myself, my God, I'll never be able to do this. And Rick said, I don't know how he knew, I don't know how he sensed it, but he said, "Bob, runway, airspeed. Runway, airspeed." And what he was talking about was take a look at your position, reference the runway, as far as how your turn's developing, what your altitude is like, and so forth, and then come in and check your airspeed. Airspeed was critical. And that's all he said was runway, airspeed. And about that tempo, Rick was not one for swearing. I never heard him use foul language, and I don't think that has a place in the jet. I don't think that. I never was comfortable with IPs that use that kind of language in the jet for instructing. Now, other things, that's a different story. The other thing I couldn't tolerate were screamers. I absolutely no love for those kind of individuals at all. There was a point when I was at Northwest and I ran into a screamer when I was going through the A320 program. And by then I was probably in my mid-50s, early 50s, I guess. And I was going through captain upgrade on the A320, and I turned around and I looked at this instructor and I said, "Do you suppose you could put this on freeze for a moment, freeze a simulator during the ride?" And he said, "Sure." So he reached up and put it on freeze, and I said, "Would you mind yelling at me a little louder and a little faster? I just don't think I'm learning as quick as you'd like to see." Well, that kind of got the message out. It's my fault, not yours, my fault. I'm just not getting it as quick as you would like to see. So I had no love for screamers or other certain types of behavior, but maybe that's a subject for another video. The other thing I wanted to mention was in the video prior to this, I kind of made light of the rudder in the T-38. Didn't intend to, but thinking about it a little bit more, it would kill you if you did not use it properly. What I mean by that is, again, you had to use pressure on the rudder very gingerly, if you will. And the other thing is you could not let your airspeed get slow. It would bite you if you did that, especially in the final turn. And unfortunately, in the final turn, if you used too much rudder, you would hit conditions of adverse yaw and all other nasty things. And it would get ugly. It would get ugly very fast to where you just couldn't recover from it. So I think as I go through and I make these videos and I think about them, I'm going to have a clean up on aisle whatever section and come back and offer a little bit more clarity on this, on these things as I go. Anyway, that's all for clean up on aisle 2.